What's up, Starcraft fans? Today we're doing the tier list for Grave Danger on Temple of the Past. Brian, let's hear the mutation.
Temple of the Past is the map where we have to protect a temple in the center of the map from waves of enemy units. If the temple survives until the end of the game, we win. If the enemies destroy the temple, we lose. Void Reanimators spawn from enemy buildings. Reanimators revive fallen enemies. Enemies spawn infested upon death and have a chance to transform when they deal damage, and instantly transform when they destroy your things.
Okay, so we have Tutu and Zero in the call with us today. How are you guys?
Tired.
Tired? I think that's all of us. So, Tutu, how do we rank the commanders this week?
So for this one, all three mutators are relevant. So the biggest one, of course, is Reanimators. That means like how good are you at clearing the map? That's basically it. The 3 lanes, because once you clear the lanes, the Reanimators will stop spawning. The Walking Infested make it so that like they're gonna body block you if you don't have good AoE, which slows down your clearing. And Transmutation can be pretty tough if your units like are low HP and they feed, then you're gonna be fighting stronger and stronger enemies. So basically, commanders who can deal with those 3 will have a better time.
So, for those who are newer, the Void Reanimators spawn from enemy buildings, like Brian said. You have to destroy every single building on the northwest, southwest, and southeast lanes to make sure that the Reanimators no longer spawn. The buildings in the northeast corner, the island there, do not spawn Reanimators because they don't have a ground pathing toward the temple. Anyway, what do you think, Zero?
Yeah, commanders that have like good early games so they can start clearing right away, and then that can deal a lot of like burst damage, ideally in splash, will also be greatly favored. Just because you can't, in this case, you can't really let the waves just slap your buildings you have stalling or ally, because they'll just transmutate a lot, so you want to be killing the waves very quickly.
Okay, let's begin. Abathur, where do we have him?
So for Abathur, it's Temple, which means that it'll take him longer to get a Brutalisk. And even after getting a Brutalisk, the Walking Infested, so the Infested will waste Toxic Nest. So that's no good either. And if you use Toxic Nest but you don't have a Brutalist, the Reanimators will start reanimating stuff, and then they might like waste more nests. They'll reanimate the infested civilians.
Yeah.
Waste your nests if you haven't gotten a Brutalist yet. After you get Brutalists, clearing the map is actually pretty easy because you can deep tunnel to the other side, so you can spawn camp the waves. I tried this against air, and when the enemy's air, it's a lot harder because you don't get extra biomass and you can't spawn camp them. So once you get enough biomass, 6 ultimate evolutions, it should be a lot easier. I'm not sure where to put him, so A or B.
A or B? Okay, that's fine. What do you think, Zero?
I have him in B tier. Getting that first Brutalisk will be a bit of an issue, and even then, you're not completely home free because the waves will still be like some of an issue. I assume you're just gonna go like Ravagers because they can just bile down everything and they do decent amount of splash damage. So for the later game, but yeah, it's just mostly about getting that first Brutalisk, which is pretty difficult on this map.
So the Brutalisk is mandatory here. You cannot just go mass Ravagers with the first Prestige.
Yeah.
Okay, that's understood. So both of you are okay with B tier. Let's put Abathur in B tier. Prestige-wise, since you want a first Brutalisk very fast, I assume you need no Prestige or the second Prestige, Tunneling Horror, right?
Yeah.
Fair. Okay, let's move on. Alarak, where do we have him?
Alarak. So yeah, this guy I think is the fastest one to
I don't think you have any idea how fast I really am.
clear this map, so it's pretty good. Of course, you need P3 for that, so you just keep that in mind. As for like the later waves, those shouldn't really be an issue either, just because Ascendant's good. they just throw their orb in and everything just kind of dies. So yeah, I have him in S tier personally.
S tier. What do you think, Tutu?
He can't be S tier because he has to work.
I'm going back to work.
But he has to like do stuff with the ascendants and things. But he is good at clearing. He can clear pretty fast. Do note that if the enemy is Zerg, they have a lot more buildings. They won't build buildings along the path. They'll just send roaches. But they have a lot of buildings in the main areas. So you have to clear more stuff. And for Alarak, he has air units that have long range, and the mothership can tank the spores. Against the other races, he can also just like take him out pretty quickly, teleport to the other side, take it out as well. And in the late game, and Alarak has good AoE, so walking infested doesn't matter. And
Yes.
later on, ascendants will wipe out entire waves, so transmutation doesn't really matter. So I put him in A.
A tier. So, Zero, do you have a case for S tier, or is A tier okay for you?
I don't think Alarak's that difficult personally, but I don't know. It's like, what do you realistically mean by ascendants being work? You just kind of throw their orbs in.
Yeah, you have to keep them alive. You have to keep them alive. You have to feed them, get them to. If you're clearing fast, you're spending money on destroyers, which means you're not getting ascendants. So you're gonna have destroyers, right? Then so you're gonna have a lot of destroyers until the mid game. If you transition out of that, then you're going to have fewer ascendants. So if the enemy's like some kind of anti-air or something, splash heavy air splash or something like that, even if they get one hit on you, sometimes that can destroy your whole fleet. So you can't get ascendants quickly if you're getting destroyers.
What
if
do you
you're
think?
only relying on destroyers, some waves will kill that later on when they get big enough.
Like, I guess it's just a balancing act then,
It sits there beautifully. There's enough magnetic field coming down.
which I guess can be quite difficult for some people.
Yes,
Yeah.
maybe.
Alright. Yeah, I guess I'm fine with A.
Okay. Alarak and
Definitely
A.
easier options.
You want the third prestige here, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So Alarak drops down to A tier instead of S tier, which is fine. Prestige again, third prestige. Arcturus, where do we have him?
So he, strangely, he's one of those defense commanders, and defense commanders have a hard time clearing. So for him, he can clear with ESOs, but they're not really reliable. If you try to charge in with troopers, it you can, but then if the enemies are coming from that side as well, you're gonna feed transmutation because your units are so like they have low HP. Even if you're using P3 and you explode on them, you will cause trouble. Like you will feed transmutation. So what he can do instead, he has a really strong defense, and you just defend at home. And when a reanimator comes, you just like kill whatever they reanimate because your bunkers shoot so fast, and you just don't clear buildings. But the defense strategy is very contrary to what like your ally might be trying to do, which is clear. So
Yeah.
your Zerg is gonna feed transmutation. Your nuke is not really reliable. ESOs for clearing is not reliable because if you clear the enemy units but you don't clear the buildings, the enemies will just get revived.
Yes.
And yeah,
And-
so you're basically gonna sit at home and defend, which is fine, but you're not helping your ally clear, which is what your ally might be doing. If you're both defending, then I think it's fine. But if you're just defending and they're trying to clear, you're not really helping. So I put him in B.
Okay, B is fine. How about you, Zero?
B tier makes sense. His clearing isn't the greatest. Even if his defense is, it's not the greatest.
Not great, not terrible.
As in, like, clearing's just better than having to deal with him. But with that said, the actual waves shouldn't really be an issue, just because if it's ground, then ESO just kind of beat it, and if it's air, then yeah, air can't really contest bunkers very well, so no matter what, you kind of just have an answer. or whatever Amon throws at you. So yeah, I think B tier makes sense.
B tier does make sense. Okay, that's fine. My one comment is it could be complementary actually to if your ally wants to clear, because if you are Arcturus and you defend all three lanes, then the anime should not be able to run through, cross the base, and just revive the enemies on the other side. So maybe that could work, but that's counting a lot on your ally. So I think B tier still makes sense. Prestige wise, you want the third one here? Because you want
I'd say so.
cheap weapons. Okay.
Stronger troopers. Yeah.
Stronger troopers. Okay. So Arcturus in B tier. Artanis, where do we have him?
Artanis. So yeah, I remember when we said you ideally want splash here. Yeah, this guy doesn't really have that. Yeah, his clearing speed is also just bad. He can warp in dragoons on a lane, I guess, but like, once you break the bunker, just the infested from the marines are gonna come at you, and then you just get overwhelmed pretty quickly. So yeah, I mean, his top bar is good, but while you kill most of the waves, you also just transmutate a lot of the remaining ones, which he can't really deal with very well either. So
Yep.
it's just a really bad situation for him. So I have him like C or D tier.
C or D tier. What do you think, Tutu?
He's slow at clearing, so he's not really gonna clear. He's not good with AoE, so he's not good against walking infested. He's okay against transmutation because of shield overcharge, but you can't do that every wave. And there are a lot of waves on this map. They come about every minute, sometimes every 30 seconds or so, like when they're drop pods, and you can't just keep using overcharge for that. Yeah, so he's gonna have a hard time. I think D, C or D. I don't know either, but I think he's pretty
C or
bad.
D. So C or D? Yeah, that's the question. C or D? Does he do anything? Because if he does
Not
anything
really.
that can contribute,
Not-
that's a
like-
justification for C tier.
I
What
mean,
does he
he's
do?
not gonna.
I mean, he contributes by existing.
Yeah,
Like,
Garden
he's
shell?
not like
way to-
that bad,
yeah.
but he's not carrying.
By the way, that's
He's
the
not
whole
doing
point
much
of
in early
these
game.
tier lists, by the way. For those of you who say you have an easy time using Artanis, but then you rely a lot on your ally to do his half of the work, that's not carrying. These tier lists are meant for guys who do like 60 to 70% or more of the work, or 60% or more of the work. That's carrying. So he's D tier, I guess, for this one, since he...
Yeah, he's not good.
Yeah.
D.
Or C tier, because he does equal contribution.
I mean, like, wouldn't like everyone ever be C tier? Like, it's kind of hard to be below equal contribution, even if you're kind of bad. As in the
For
commander.
this one,
For this one?
for
So
this
D,
one, I suppose
so D tier?
C-ish. C.
C? Okay.
Yeah.
Wait, C or D? Hold on.
I guess we
C.
could put him C tier for now, and if he feels too high, we can lower him.
Okay, that sounds fair. Let's put Artanis in C tier. Prestige wise, you want the third one, right? Or do you want the Garden Shell? Because at least
That's
you might luck into an
still
Zagara
A
ally.
tier.
It doesn't. Not third prestige.
No, I'd say
Zagara, it doesn't
P3
really-
still.
Oh, it's still third prestige. Okay, that's fine. Dehaka, where do we have him?
So Dehaka with pack leaders can clear areas pretty quickly, and later on you can just throw creeper hosts at the problems with their splash damage. They'll just destroy all the hybrids. Even if you feed transmutation a bit, you can just destroy them. And his clearing speed's pretty good. One pack leader in each lane, like not at the same time, of course. And early game, Dehaka should not go farming at 1 minute because you're gonna have to fight Reanimators, and you're probably not ready for that. So you probably don't want you probably want to slap rocks for this one. I put him in A.
All right. How about you, Zero?
I had him like A or S tier personally. Like, pack leaders are good. They'll just either clear the base or handle a side on their own, while your units just handle the other side. like Tutu said, his clearing speed is decent enough. He can hold Reanimators pretty well, also just because of his sheer power. So yeah, I think like A tier is fine.
A tier is fine. Okay, let's put Dehaka in A tier. Prestige wise, you still want the second one, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Dehaka's in A tier. Fenix, where do we have him?
Phoenix. So yeah, Kaldi's gonna be doing a lot of slapping this game.
Larry, what the hell are you doing?
Larry!
Larry, you can't just. Oh,
Larry! Oh, are you alright? How did...
Larry!
Like always. Yeah, the infested won't really be an issue. Transmutation can kind of help him in a way, as in it'll make the air units, ground units. Noted those ground units will most likely be hybrid eventually, but for Cowley, that's still like a buff in a way. His clearing's okay, I guess. You get Cowley pretty quickly, so I guess it'll be a lot of like juggling between the waves and like I think you're just gonna use like the Phoenix hero for defense for like the first waves and then just clear with Kaldi. That should clear like one side before Kaldi like needs to go to the central path to either like help with the waves or the Thrasher, because Phoenix doesn't really want to be slapping the Thrasher on his own. But yeah, basically before like the double waves come, you should have at least like two sides clear. So yeah, and for the later game, I don't think you're gonna have much issue, even if it's like an air comp, because champions are good. So yeah, I have him like A tier.
Plus, if it's there, you can just kind of wait for it to transform back into ground units or something.
Yeah,
So, A tier?
I think so.
What do you think, Tutu?
So this week I've been trying traditionally strong against ground commanders against air comps on this map. It's actually very hard, a lot harder because they don't
That's what you
transmutate
said.
like 100%. So a lot of their air units are getting free shots, and if they don't transmutate, they continue getting free shots on stuff, which is not gonna be good. So I don't think Caldalis clears a lane by himself, and Phoenix clears a lane by himself. Like by like 9 minutes, I only have one lane cleared. But then for pattern B, you just clear the other lane before 10 minutes, and then you clear the last one before 12 minutes. But like it's not that fast. Plus, if you're like Phoenix on one lane and you're clearing the other lane with champions, the reanimators might spawn there, and if you kill like the workers, they're gonna produce walking infested units, and those are gonna get respawned, which aren't a problem. But if you don't notice, then they might be a little annoying. With that said, I still put Phoenix in A because he does clear really fast.
He does
and
clear.
He has units that can hit ground and air. So like you add Talus to the mix at Mojo later, he'll be fine even if it's an air comp. Carriers, you want to use Phoenix suits, the Dragoon suit to clear.
Oh yeah. You wanna, for a general tip for this map, since transmutation involves every single unit, even stuff like interceptors and dudelings and locusts, you want to focus fire down all of the unit spawners, the free unit spawners. Brood lords, focus them down. Swarmy boys, focus them down. Carriers, focus them down. You cannot let them spawn too many units because those will all transmutate and kind of spiral your game out of control. Bad comps here. Sky Toss with carriers. Bailing Scourge with the Swarmy boys. The Sky Zerg with the Dude Lords. Actually, Terran might be the best enemy composition here because they have like Marines and stuff, which have a long way to go before they become bad units, or strong units in this case. Anyway, so both of you agree with A. Let's put Phoenix in A. You want the second prestige here?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, Phoenix in A. Second prestige. Hana and Horner, where do we have them?
Oh, so there's no eminent domain. Now they suck. So they are not good at clearing because Reapers, like, well, you can kind of clear your lane probably, but it's really hard to clear a second lane. One thing that I did learn you can do, this is what I did for quick killers, which was I put 25 points in Calling the Fleet, And at least against Protoss, you can clear an entire lane with Call in the Fleet. But I don't know about the other races. If you add points in Call in the Fleet, you can clear the whole lane. The bad thing is the reanimators that are waiting at the rocks will go back and reanimate the walking infested units and then break the rocks. So you have to be ready to defend against that. Reapers feed transmutation. Strike fighters are good, but if you're fighting like Terran, then you're gonna have to fight the units inside, or you gotta wait till you get the fire upgrade. But that takes a long time to get all that set up.
Yes.
Even after you clear against transmutation, you need like a really strong army that doesn't feed, and your reapers that you probably use to clear are
A
like
detriment.
they're extremely fragile and will feed transmutation.
They help aim
So
on.
you have to be like really good with strike fighters, and if you're fighting air, you're like gonna get screwed. So Hana Horner C.
C tier. How about you, Zero?
If you play them normally here, they're not very good. Although I may be wrong here, but I'm pretty sure the Mira units don't guarantee transmutation upon death, unless that was changed at some point. Like, Reapers shouldn't feed that much, but yeah, they're still not very great. Unless you just use the invincible unit bug, in which case they're probably like S tier if you know how to pull that off. So I guess just take your pick.
It's actually kind of tricky to do that. The invincible unit bug, where you
Yeah,
need
it
to have
requires
like
time.
you need
But it just
to.
secures that lane if you can do it, so I guess it's still kind of worth it.
Will it though? Because most units don't shoot air, so they'll kind of just.
Well, you can do it with like a strike platform.
If you say it like that, then it's like every mutation you just do it and then cheese
Yeah.
it, which is not
That's
really.
why I'm kind of skeptical on it.
And even if you do it, I don't think it's a guarantee because lots of units will kind of just walk past your galleon.
No, you don't do it on Galleon. You do it on like a strike platform.
I guess.
Basically, just if you're desperate enough to do Thunder Horner here, I'd probably recommend that. If not, they just suck.
Desperate enough. I think most people who play Hot and Horner aren't desperate for a win. They're like really bored. People who play Hot and Horner are bored. they've gone kind of bored of using the stronger commanders, and they want sort of a challenge or a different flavor, change of pace, something like that. So for the if you play Hot and Horner, you probably don't need any gameplay advice. You probably know what you're going into. Anyway, so is he C or D?
I'll say I think C for now. I don't think they're like below equal contribution bad.
Okay, both of you say C. Let's put Hot and Horner in C. Prestige wise, what do you want here?
P2 probably.
Second one saying get better units. Okay, that's understandable. Hot and Horner, C tier. Let's move on. Karax, where do we have him?
Karax. Yeah, his big monolith dudes, they don't have splash, so yeah, they're gonna suck.
So you just suck.
Especially when every single wave, even like the trickle from Reanimators, will require you to have some sort of splash. Well, not require, probably it's not that bad once you get like to a decent cannon mount, but it's still really awkward. And his clearing just doesn't exist unless you use P2, in which case that's a whole issue on its own. So yeah,
Yes.
clearing will be an issue. Holding like the trickles will kind of be an issue. Yeah, they'll spawn more infested. At least like his shield batteries give a barrier that blocks transmutation, I believe, but he's still not the greatest. His stop burst still good though, so he's not terrible. I think he's like B tier.
B tier. What do you think, Tutu?
He's another IDEF commander, just like Manx here. So he's going to basically not clear, and he's going to defend at home. And since you have vision of the entire area up to the ramp, if a reanimator comes, you can either orbital strike it or just control click your monoliths and target it, and it'll just die. The units they reanimate are probably gonna start with like the infested civilians. So you have some time, and the infested civilians pose no threat to your wall of cannons. So the tricky part is like knowing how to go out and clear the thrashers, at least up to at least the first three. So yeah, I put Karax in B.
Okay, both of you have it in B tier. That's an easy decision for me. Third prestige, right?
First can work too.
Yeah, I'm thinking
guess.
first is gonna be pretty good. When you save your Chrono Wave for the hybrid attack waves, that's gonna make it really good because the hybrids are the really strong ones, and they usually come like with heavy escorts. So you do want the Chrono Wave. In that case, first prestige will also work, but third prestige will also work. So let's put in B tier. You guys said B tier, right? I'm remembering right. I don't have memory problems yet. All right. Not today, memory problems. Kerrigan, where do we have him?
Kerrigan is very good at clearing. So just Kerrigan herself can clear the southwest lane easily. Then by the time you get to the next part, you should have some units to help you clear the other side. So you can easily clear 2 lanes. The third one may be a bit trickier, but by like 10, 11 minutes, your macro should be kicking in. You got all your Kerrigan upgrades and stuff. Against air, she will struggle a bit more. I did this yesterday against Fleet of the Matriarch, and it was okay. The Corsairs using disruption web was the most annoying part, not the other things actually. So she clears fast. Her ultralisks are good, and you add hydralisks for anti-air support. If the enemy is ground, then you're gonna have an even easier time. So I put Kerrigan in A.
A tier. Wow. How about you, Zero?
I guess against ground comp she could A tier. It's just I think air is slightly awkward for her. Well, probably more than slightly awkward. Just because you're like Tutu mentioned in the Phoenix example, you still don't really want to be tanking the air units long enough for them to all transmutate into ground. And Kerrigan's anti-air is not the greatest still. Like Hydras will just kind of die, and I guess Mutas can work. It's just Transmutation likes to evolve into a lot of like AoE. It's like mainly the Stormy hybrid, so I don't know. I think that can still be an issue.
So, ladder.
I don't know, like A or B.
Well,
A against ground comp, B against air.
how about A star? Will that work? Or is it not specific enough? There is not a specific strategy.
I don't think she's bad against. I don't think she's bad against air for this one because 1 P2 will zap them, and 2, not some of them will transmutate to ground units. So, so some of them will be food for the ultralisks. You don't really need hydralisks until like way later when the waves are bigger. So early game, you just need Kerrigan and ultralisks, and some of them will turn into ground units, and other ones will be frozen by the thunder or the lightning.
The thunder and the lightning.
And she'll slide through all the infested civilians, and the ultralisks will also eat them. So those aren't really a problem for her.
So, what do you think, Zero?
Okay, tier's fine in that case.
I mean,
If
both of
there
you.
isn't an issue, then like nothing pretty much is.
Yeah, both of you are okay. Both of you said A is okay anyway. So let's put the Kerrigan in A. Prestige wise, second or third? Just not
Second.
because it's
Just
You
not
want the
first,
slide.
Second. Okay, you want the slide, or you want the zap?
You want
Yeah.
slide.
No prestige can also slide, but you want the zap. Okay,
Yeah.
let's move on. Nova, where do we have him?
Nova, so I her shotgun mode. I assume you're just gonna go like P1 here. You don't really want P3 here, even though clearing's good, just because there isn't that much of the clearing part. Whereas having the more of the actual good units will probably help you a lot more, especially with the shotgun mode being this good here, thanks to the infested. So yeah, the hybrid won't really be an issue. You your units won't transmutate the enemies that much thanks to defensive drone, and you kind of just like airstrike the other wave for clearing. That in the early game that might be like slightly awkward. But yeah, if you should still be fine, I think. So I have it like A or B.
A or B? What do you think, Tutu?
I tried this against air. It's really, really awkward because when you're trying to siege and kill buildings and ground units, the air units hit you for free. And if you're using defensive drone, they're not going to transmutate into a ground unit so you can kill them, but they're also not dying. So you have to switch back. But when you switch back, all the infested, the walking infested, you need something on the ground. So you need Nova to clear it. So it's like either Nova is in shotgun and the Liberators are not shooting air. Liberators are shooting air. Then you're not clearing buildings, or you have to keep switching back and forth. If you are shooting the ground and Nova shoots the air, the walking infested will surround you, the civilians, because there are so many of them. So against air comps, it's really, really awkward, and her clearing is actually not that fast until you get like 4 to 6 liberators, which is about like 10 minutes.
Yeah,
and
that's kind of late.
it's not actually very fast. So I put her in B.
B. What do you think, Zero?
I said B.
Oh, you said B as well. Okay.
Yeah.
Memory problems. No. Fine. Nova goes in B. Second, or you want the first prestige?
Yeah.
All right. Nova goes in B tier. Raynor, where do we have him?
Raynor, his spider mines are good, but they feed transmutation. So it's his best option, but they feed transmutation. His marines will feed transmutation. His clearing is kind of not very good. He just has Duskwings and Hyperion. Hyperion can against Protoss can clear a side, but then if you don't clear the reanimators there as well, then their corpses will get revived. Duskwings. I guess you're gonna be spending Duskwings clearing buildings instead of helping with attack waves. So you need to rely on your luck and your spider mines. Hopefully they don't feed too much. Later on, you still have to keep up with macros so that you can spider mine more. If the enemy has air units, then you're screwed. So, C.
C. How about you, Zero?
Just kind of bad here. Yeah, he just has no real way to clear in the early game, because normally he'd like to do it with his top bar, but he can't because the waves are strong enough that he kind of gets the top bar for that. So it's just really awkward for him. So I think C tier makes sense.
C tier makes sense. Okay, both of you say C tier. Let's put Raynor in C tier. Prestige wise, since you want a lot of spider mines, I'm guessing you want no prestige or even the second prestige here. Or do you still want third?
Third can work. You can get your orbital faster. Then I guess you want like Vikings in case it's air units, which I guess could give you more top bar. I don't think it matters that much though.
So it doesn't matter what prestige. It does though, because you don't want to use the first one because you need mules to fuel your spider mines.
Yeah, just not P1.
Not the first one. Okay, let's put Raynor in C tier. Stet boy, where do we have him?
Yeah, this guy has Zerglings. They don't really care about transmutation just because they kind of tank the hybrid forever.
So you can kind of farm them.
Yeah, his clearing is not.
They will matter if you're up against Dude Lords, Swarmy Boys, and Carriers that will just make more units, and then just your Zerglings will still kind of transmutate them. So
I mean, Gary just deals with that anyway with Igor. He doesn't care how many units are in front.
What about split waves?
Split waves. Well, I mean, the Igor cooldown is short enough. It's like
split
28
waves.
seconds. What do you mean like split waves? Like on both sides?
Yes, Gary can only be in one place at one time.
Yeah, and he has a teleport, and he runs very fast.
He doesn't run very fast. He flies very fast. But okay, So just have your teleport off cooldown, so you can just use Igor with one side, Igor with the other side, and just guarantee that it actually destroys everything. So continue.
His clearing isn't like the fastest, but it's not terrible either. Like I guess like you'll probably want to clear like one side at a time because you can't really split your Zerglings from Gary. But yeah, he should still clear very fast, especially with his lane DPS being very high from the third upgrade on the Hive Tech. Yeah, transmutation itself shouldn't really be an issue, just because Hug's overcharge prevents transmutation due to giving the links a barrier, and he can't just delete a wave with the Egorb. And yeah, he has plenty of mobility and a lot of stalling the hybrid for either like his backline or Gary to just finish them off. So yeah, I think S tier for him.
Okay. How about you, Tutu?
So by the time, Gary plus Lings can clear the southwest easily, and by the time you fight double waves, you should have Ultralists. So Ultralists will help you on the ground against the infested Marines, or no, infested civilians. And then since Gary Igor kills the wave so fast, after like 9 minutes, the first wave, you have a lot of time to finish that lane. And then you will have time to clear the next lane like within the next 2 minutes. So he's really good. And when units turn into ground units or hybrids, they don't explode. So the Zerglings and the Ultralists will just completely destroy them.
We'll be
So
fine.
I put Stetmann in S.
All right, our first S tier took us like 12 commanders to get to our first S tier. Let's move on. Oh wait, you want second prestige, right?
Yes.
Let's move on. Stukov, where do we have him?
So Stukov is like half IDEF, half clearing, which is just bad. So his clearing consists of using some Diamondbacks, and when there's enough creep, you can deep tunnel tanks. But then nothing against air. So you have like you have a few Diamondbacks, but that's about it. If you mass Diamondbacks, then you won't have enough firepower against stronger units like hybrids. They can like one shot your Diamondbacks and just go away. Not really good. His clearing is not the best, and his defense is also not the best. But if you need help with defense, or if you need help with the clearing, he does a better job at that than maybe like the IDEF commanders. I still put him in B. He's not as bad as the C's.
Okay, he's not as bad as the C's. How about you, Zero?
I personally have him in C tier. It's just, I guess he's like in that weird spot where I do agree that he's better than the C's, but I also don't think he's as good as the B's. So yeah, I don't know. You also just have to be really careful with your top bar. Like you pretty much can't infest structure, else you just kind of lose. Like Alexander, you also have to be really careful with. But yeah, his mech is still really good and very affordable with P1, which is what I assume you're gonna be wanting here. So yeah, I guess it's just about playing it careful, and even then he's not amazing. So yeah, I personally lean him closer to the C's than to the B's.
What do you think, Tutu?
I can see that, yes. So
You can see that. Okay.
yeah,
Maybe he
'cause
can be top of C or something.
probably because he is like, you do use infest structures to like turn off pylons, and then you can clear but that's only against Protoss. So if it's not Protoss, then yeah, it's feeding transmutation.
Yes, especially against
So
Zerg, because once you destroy the buildings, the dual links might accidentally destroy something or then transmutate.
they fight each other, and then they become something else, a Reaper or something.
Yes, and then that
Um,
starts the chain reaction.
against like air, he will struggle a bit. But once you have enough tanks, it's a lot less of a problem. But yeah, I guess C is alright.
Okay, C is fine. Prestige wise, you want the first one?
First one.
Yeah.
Swann, where do we have him?
Swann. So yeah, he's an IDEF guy, but unlike Karax, his static defense has splash damage. Yeah, that's pretty good in this Mutation. Yeah, his clearing's not very good. Yeah, no matter what, you're just kind of gonna be slow. Like, if you even want to clear, which probably not. Yeah, his turrets will kind of handle the waves. Even against like immortals, he will obviously struggle because it's Swann. But I guess they will kind of transmutate out of the immortal state eventually.
Eventually.
But they'll probably kill your defenses before they do, so it's still not great. But yeah, against like every other comp, he should be decent enough. So I have him in B tier.
B tier. What do you think, Tutu?
Yep, he's another IDEF commander. The good thing, so similar to Karax, you can just point the laser drill at whatever reanimator is heading towards your main base, and you have vision of everything. So as long as you don't fight like in the lane, you let them come to you. There won't be any corpses in the lane to be revived. So you can just like shoot the reanimators when they get close. If not, you can float a few factories to make sure you have vision of those reanimators, and you can take them out. He's not gonna clear. So yeah. Oh, and when you use concentrated beam, you're gonna clear some enemies, or like you might clear some enemies that are along the lanes, and they'll get revived. I put him in B.
What if you use the concentrated beam in tandem with the arrays? So once you use the concentrated beam on like half of a lane, you drop the arrays to finish off the buildings, and then right click down the Reanimators, and also give vision to the laser drill to finish off the rest.
That would be when there are no enemies there, right?
Yes.
Because when there are enemies there will be a ton of infested that you have to take care of.
Yes.
And that will waste time. So
anyway,
I guess you could do that.
So do you also have him in B?
Yeah.
Okay, both of you have him in B.
I used the Ares to push forward so I can build towers to take out the Thrashers.
Yeah. So both of you have him in B. Let's put him in B. You want the second prestige here? So you have better towers?
Yeah.
So you have less fear against transmutation.
Okay too.
One is okay
too.
Yeah, you can slow down
Slows them
immortals. Yeah, that's good. So just pick whichever you want between the first or the second one. Tychus, where do we have him?
Tychus clears very fast. His only problem is like if he doesn't one-shot the enemies, he's in trouble. That's about it. Yeah. S.
That's fast. How about you, Zero?
Yeah, S tier. Clearing good, dealing with waves good. Doesn't really care about transmutation much. So
Straight
yeah,
to the
S tier.
point. Straight to the point. I like it. Tychus S tier. Second prestige. Done. Vorazun, where do we have him?
Vorazun not good. Vorazun not have splash damage. Vorazun C tier.
Also straight to the point. How about you, Tutu?
So Vorazun clearing is not good. No splash damage. Not good against air. Her only good thing is time stop, which you might actually get body blocked on your way to trying to kill the hybrid because of all the infested that spawn. So you might not even reach the hybrid by the time like the time stop is over, and the hybrid will start attacking your stuff. But you should kill like the majority of the things there. Clearing the waves will not. Clearing the bases not really gonna work. You can't dark pylon wall if it's not Terran. If it is Terran, they might transmutate into an Oracle, and now they see everything. So, just not very good. So, C.
Okay, both of you have Vorazun in C. Let's put her in C. She has one prestige, the third one. So there we go. Zagara, where do we have him?
Zagara's interesting because her clearing is super good, but she is not good against transmutation. So she can easily clear the map before like 8 minutes. All three sides before 8 minutes. No matter what race you're fighting, pretty easily clear them. The problem is when you're fighting transmutation, you have to be good at using bio launchers because that deals tons. They deal ton of damage. They deal splash damage, so you don't waste your banelings. I put Zagara in B.
How about you, Zero?
Yeah, I think B tier makes sense. Her clearing is very good. It's just, yeah, everything that comes afterwards is just kind of awkward. I guess you can like try spawn camping at least one of the waves and not shoot. If you have enough Banelings and Scourge, depending on what you're facing, at least deal one side while you by launcher the other. So at least requires less APM than by launching two sides, but yeah, even then it's not great.
You
So yeah, I
can
think B tier makes sense.
you can spawn camp two sides, I think, with enough Banelings and Scourge. Are
I guess it
Banelings
depends
and
on what
Scourge bad
comp you're
against
facing,
Transmutation?
right?
Sorry?
I guess it depends on what composition you're facing, right? Because you don't really want to be splitting that much if you're facing like storms. If you miss like a high Templar, then he just storms your whole army.
You spawn camp. You the High Templars don't just spawn in the storm right away. They have a warping animation thing, wherein they're quite vulnerable to Banelings.
Yeah, but if you don't have like if you like miscalculate how many Banelings you need, and then like that one High Templar actually warps in enough to storm.
Just add more. Okay, well,
No, but you miscalculate, which means you didn't put enough there. Adding more would be too late. If you put too many on one side, then you don't have enough for the other side.
you still have the hero.
If you're using P3, I don't think you have enough Banelings for both sides.
Okay.
Unless you're not making biolaunchers.
Unless you're not making bio launchers.
If you're not making biolaunchers, then you'll have enough gas for Banes and Scourge.
That's what I'm
but
saying.
if you are,
I'm not gonna
but
buy
then
a
if you
launcher.
biolaunchers are more reliable, because if you miscalculate your Baneling Scourge amount, then you have nothing at home to stop the hybrid.
Okay, so both of you say B tier. Let's put Zagara in B tier. I personally had her in A tier because I don't think Banelings and Scourge will fail. I think they're fine. So take that for whatever you think.
It's not P. If you're P1, you're not A or B.
Yeah, I know. I still think even with the third prestige, you're still A because you will still have enough Banelings and Scourge. That's what I think. Zeratul, where do you have him?
Okay, Zeratul. So I guess his clearing's kind of okay. Yeah, I guess hero unit can like snipe detection, then you just send a DT over there. The Dark Templar will not feed because they can't see him. They don't have detection. Yeah, his splash damage is, I guess, kind of good with the Dark Templar or Disruptors. If it's air, you probably just get like Stalker, Disruptor, slash DT. Yeah. He has a lot of mobility, so I guess you can deal with multiple sides. He kills things pretty fast. And yeah, I don't think he cares that much about transmutation between like his avatar, just having a lot of artifacts in the later game. So yeah, I have him like A or S.
A or S. How about you, Tutu?
I don't see him as an S just because his clearing, if you're doing like sniping turrets and then right clicking with DTs, that's a little bit like harder than just brute forcing with others. But I do see he has a lot of options against any enemy comp. If they mutate to hybrids, your DTs just wreck them. You can blink through all the walking infested units, and clearing is not so bad. You probably won't clear super fast, but you can clear with the avatar, which when you get the third artifact at about like 8 to 9 minutes, you'll push the side lane with your avatar and whatever you clear whatever wave there. So it's pretty good. I put him in A.
A tier. Okay, so both of you have an A tier. Let's put Zeratul in A tier. Prestige wise, anyone should work here, right?
I'd say B tier.
Yeah.
You want the second one?
Yeah.
Probably not the first one,
Not the first one, because you want
because you want
teleport.
time. Like you want to teleport, and time is important. Like you don't want to be blinking to get artifacts.
Okay.
P3 may not be the greatest also. I mean, like, the revival on your DTs is, I guess, gives you a lot of more leeway on them.
Okay, let's put Zeratul in A tier. So, Do we have a double S? No.
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 Who's top of S tier?
I say Stetmann.
Stetmann, yeah.
And then Tychus. Who's top of A tier?
Alarak? Maybe
Alarak?
Zeratul?
Alarak.
Okay, and then?
Zeratul?
Then...
Dehaka.
Oh, Dehaka? Dehaka or Zeratul?
I guess like
Mm,
Zeratul has better clearing, I think. Well, I guess it's harder to do, but it's better, so I guess how confident you are in being able to snipe detection of Zeratul than some DTs.
I might personally prefer Dehaka because I'm not not a good player. But yes,
Dehaka's more straightforward. Just throw things
Fair
in the
enough.
direction.
blunt weapon. So Dehaka or Zeratul?
Dehaka.
All right.
Dehaka, then
And
Zeratul.
Not that far
and-
behind. Just a skill check if you prefer Zeratul. Phoenix and then Kerrigan or Kerrigan then Phoenix?
Phoenix is more forgiving because you lose Caldelis, you have another one.
Okay,
You lose a suit, you have another one.
that's A tier. Who's top of B?
Ova?
Zagara, because clearing is more
I
important.
would say Zagara. I had her in A tier, so
Yeah, I'm fine with Zagara.
then
Nova second, I think.
Nova second. Not Karax?
Yeah.
Okay. Who's third?
Mangsk?
I feel like the three IDEF guys are together and Abathur, like their goals are different. So I would say the three IDEF guys are better than Abathur.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Okay.
They're more stable in the early game.
They like their horses. So who's the best between them three?
The
I'd say
three
Mangsk.
IDEFs, Manx is the best one.
Yeah, Mangsk, Karax, Swann.
Oh, Manx's problem is with reanimators that walk close, whereas the other two don't really have a problem. But Manx can also like just kill whatever they reanimate, unless they're reanimating like something dangerous. Then you have to walk out and shoot. Get out of the bunker and shoot him.
Okay.
I still think Manx is better.
Okay. That's fine. So Arcturus, Karax, Abathur, Arcturus, Karax, Swann, and Abathur. Who's top of C tier?
Stukov.
Stukov.
And then
Vorazun?
Yeah,
do we move these four guys down to D tier for like being that much worse than Stukov? Do we do it?
yeah, I'm fine with that.
Are they less than equal contribution though? Because the letters have meanings. They're not
Yes.
just like
They have
relative.
meanings.
Is anyone ever like lower than equal contribution?
Yes.
I guess
For example, Vorazun on Black Death. That's lower than equal contribution. You actively help Amon. Or like third prestige Stukov against Poops or Transmutation. That's less than equal contribution.
Nah, third prestige Stukov against Poops is very doable.
The point stands there. Those exist.
I don't
guess
think they're worse than equal because they still can do something. Although,
Yeah.
like for transmutation, if you're not doing well, you might be feeding, and that's
Yeah,
mostly
in that
Raynor.
case, everyone could be lower than equal if the player is bad enough,
Yes. Including Stukov, though.
including even like Tychus Stetmann.
Yes. So do we just keep these four guys here?
Sure.
I
think
mean,
it's-
C plus is still C tier, and that could be Stukov, and C minus is still C tier, and that could be these four guys. So they'll feel like a tier apart, but like they're just barely at the fringes of that tier, just in the opposite direction. So anyway, among these four guys, who's the best?
Vorazun.
Vorazun.
Then
Artanis? Because he has an
Artanis.
okay top bar.
okay, and then
Horner.
Han Horner, then Raynor.
all right, that's it. Okay, now since we only have 2 guys in S tier, do we have combinations of commanders in B tier or lower that together are better than Tychus on his own?
High def buddies.
So you want
IDEF.
2 IDEFs. How about Zagara plus IDEF?
Yeah, because
you-
once Zagara clears everything, you just let the IDEF finish
Take
off
over.
the rest of the game.
Right? That's what I think. So Zagara plus any IDEF or 2 IDEFs should work fine.
Nova P3 plus IDEF also works.
Alright, so any of the top guys in B. Alright, that's fair. Okay, guys, watch Tutu's videos. I will link them down below. We'll see you guys next time.